Hello from Slide Nerd and hello from Weaves. What's up folks? In this video I'm going to talk about something called layout weight. In the last video I was talking about linear layouts where we guys saw how to arrange content horizontally or vertically. But here using something called layout weight I'm going to make some views bigger compared to the others. So what I have a sample app over here with an edit text and a button. If you see the code, it looks something like this. There is a linear layout, there is an edit text, and there is a button. Now everything uses a width of wrap content. But wait a second, does the edit text have any content? No. So when you give it a width of wrap content, it is going to look very small. The user doesn't even know that he has to enter something over here. Now this is not what we want. Remember, when you make user interfaces, the user looking at them should be aware of what he needs to do, right? So what I want to do is I want to have the edit text a bit bigger. Now there is one way to achieve this. Let me actually show you how it is done. Here it's the same user interface, but I have modified the edit text a little bit to make it look bigger so that the user knows that he has to enter some text over there. The linear layout, there's the button, and there's the edit text. And I have used this attribute called Android EMs. Now EM is a unit in CSS for font typography. You guys can go ahead and Wikipedia this out. But remember, this 10 is not the number of characters because the first row and the second row here have different number of characters. Notice that, guys? So does using EM attribute solve my problem? No, not really. Because if you look at the tablet, the user interface looks like this. This is inconsistent, right? Here also we need the edit text to stretch all the way till the end of the screen and the button should be at the end, right? That is what consistent user interfaces are. But here it is inconsistent. So let's actually figure out another way of achieving the same effect by which we can make the edit text clearly seen by the user, right? So here we are going to use something called layout weight. Now layout weight is a way of assigning importance to a view as to how much space it can take compared to the others. It's like a priority, you can say, but not exactly a priority. If you see now, the user interface looks like this on the mobile phone. The edit text is big, the button is small. What I have done is I have assigned something called layout weight. Now remember, the button has a width of wrap content. So when the edit text is considered and you give it a layout weight of 1, you're telling Android that, hey, let the button take wrap content, but for me, I want everything else. Alright, you want to take all the remaining space, and that is what this layout weight actually does when you have just one component with a layout weight. Now when there are more than one components with a layout weight, we are gonna see what happens. For all controls, by default layout weight is 0, alright, unless we explicitly specify some value. Now if you talk about consistency, take a look at the mobile and take a look at the tablet. Here again the same thing happens. The button takes wrap content, and since you give the edit text a layout weight of 1, your Android user interface the manager gives all the available space to this edit text. Alright, now you guys probably have a question saying what value I can give to the Android layout weight. What happens if I give it a layout weight of 2? Well, as long as you have only one component which is using layout weight, you can give any value you want. But when you have more than one component that use a layout weight, we are gonna see what happens. So let's actually see what are the different cases we can have with layout weights are assigned. Right now this is the default case. Here I have a button. This oh my god man is a text view. This time pass is actually an edit text, where this time pass is an Android hint. Alright, now there are no layouts weights used over here. All of them are wrap content wide and wrap content tall. Now here what I have is I have layout weight of 1 for oh my god man text view. Now just like I said, the button is having wrap content for width, the time pass is gonna have wrap content for width, and all the remaining space belongs to this text view oh my god man, because you have assigned layout weight of 1. Here if you see, I have a layout weight of 1 for both oh my god man and time pass. Now remember, as I said, when there is more than one component that uses layout weight, what Android is gonna do is gonna take the remaining space and assign weights based on priorities, right? For example, both of them are 1 over here, it's gonna assign equal space to both oh my god man and time pass. Now let's actually see a case where all the controls are using different layout weights and figure out what happens. Here if you guys notice, the button has a layout weight of 1, the oh my god man text view has a weight of 4, and a time pass has a view weight of 8. As you guys can look at the appearance, there is some ratio amongst them on the screen, right? Now let's actually figure out what Android does when you give multiple weights to all the components in a row. So here when you have a user interface like this, there is one thing: for all those views that do not use a layout weight, they don't form a part of the calculation. Now let me show you what calculation actually occurs. Android first calculates the total weight, saying 1 plus 4 plus 8 equals 13. button gets 1/13 of the total remaining space, oh my god man gets 4/13, and time pass gets 8/13. Simple ratio calculations for each user interface component, right? The code looks something like this. You have the button with the layout weight of 1, you have the text view with a layout weight of 4, and you have the edit text with a layout weight of 8. Now I have given some background colors over here so that you guys can clearly distinguish them over here, right? So layout width is wrap content is redundant. Now remember, giving a layout width of wrap content when you're using layout weight is redundant because they both are calculated in separate ways. So when you give layout weights in your app, it is recommended that you guys put layout width as 0 dp when you're using a horizontal linear layout. Now you guys are probably wondering, all this layout weight calculation, why did it apply only horizontally, why not vertically? Remember, this layout weight is dependent on the orientation of your linear layout. When you're using a horizontal orientation, it's all about width. When you're using a vertical orientation, it's all about height. Now let me actually show you guys an example where we are using a vertical orientation with the same ratio and see what happens. Here, just like I said, since I'm using layout weights for everything, Android is simply gonna say 1/13, 4/13, and 8/13, and that means this wrap content width is redundant. So I have put 0 dp, 0 dp, and 0 dp for all the layout widths. Alright. Again, if you see what happens in a vertical layout is something like this. Take a look. Now the button is 1, the text view is 4, and the time pass is 8. 1, 4, 8. Now this time, since your orientation is vertical, it is the height which comes into consideration. That means Android is going to dynamically calculate the height ratios for all your views over here. And that means, again, your layout height is equals to wrap content is redundant. So you don't need to put any value of wrap content over there. You can simply put 0 dp. Alright. Now why we are doing this? Because we want to make sure that Android does not calculate the height 2 times. Now remember, when you say layout height equals to wrap content, that is one calculation. When you say layout weight equals to 1, that is another calculation. The first calculation is redundant because ultimately you are using layout weights, right? So why not make the layout height equals to 0 dp and make sure that your program runs faster and more efficient. So this is all about layout weights. You guys can experiment with this as much as you want. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my channel, comment, let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Have a nice day.